This was a tragedy, and it didn't have to happen. After 2.5 years of PacifiCorp's confidential investigation, after 7 weeks of trial, they have not offered any alternative explanation for what happened in 3 of the 4 fires. And for the Santiam Canyon fire, they can't dispute, and they don't dispute, that they started fires there too. This case is about one common denominator, one common thread that runs through all the evidence, and it's an obvious one. It's PacifiCorp's power lines. The warning signs were overwhelming, and they were everywhere, and they were known to PacifiCorp. Warning signs like this forecast, showing the entire state of Oregon at extreme or critical levels of fire danger, and PacifiCorp did nothing. How else do you know that PacifiCorp knew? So much of this case is about their own documents, where they came into court and said one thing, and their own documents and their own records say something else. On the screen is a draft of what's called a major event report, a report that they submit to the Public Utility Commission after storms like the Labor Day storm. It's Exhibit 231. The strike-throughs that you see on the screen are edits that Vice President David Lucas made to the document before it was submitted to the regulator, after the people that he called the subject matter experts, people like Heidi Caswell, people like Carrie Laird, people like Milton Bucher, after they'd already approved of this document, Vice President Lucas comes in and he takes out the information about the forecast that was known to PacifiCorp. It's a little hard to read back from where you are, but some of the information that he cut out includes that there was a forecasted east wind event with 65 to 75 mile per hour winds. PacifiCorp knew. You can see the comment on the right side of Mr. Lucas's edits, a comment that you heard that he made. And it says, propose deleting this discussion due to the current circumstances. The current circumstances are these fires, are these people, about what PacifiCorp's decisions led to. And Mr. Lucas didn't want the regulators to know that PacifiCorp knew the storm was coming. Now, PacifiCorp put out several expert witnesses who told you that this storm was unprecedented, that it had no history in what they called the observational record. And they said that over and over again. Well, that's not quite true, as you all heard and as you all know. There have been major east wind events in Oregon, even in our recent history. Events like the Tillamook burn that you heard several people talk about, which was in the 30s and the 40s, and burned hundreds of thousands of acres. More recently, the Eagle Creek fire in 2017 in the Columbia River Gorge. You can still see the fire scar, an east wind event. And let's credit PacifiCorp. Let's say that they're right, that this event had no precedent in the observational record. Well, if that's the case, in what other circumstance would they shut off the power? According to them, it never gets worse than this. This is as bad as it's ever been, and they still didn't shut off the power. What would it take for them to do that? They told you they wouldn't do anything differently.